I listened to a phrase a few minutes ago that said, you've died so many times in your life, so it's not about death. And that is so true. Like, I've been trying to find an explanation of why do I have anxiety with aging and with dying and with getting sick or not remembering things, not being able to do things. And I've realized that I am no longer the version that I was a year ago. I've killed myself many times. Many times, you know. I have been reborn, I've have rebirth. I don't know how you say it, but I am no longer the version that I was. And I've been through many lives in one lifetime. So I guess life is about changing. Life is about dying. Even though it's not all about that, but it is. It is. And it's what you do when you are building your life again, because you're going to do that again and again. So comparing doesn't make sense, you know. Yearning sometimes does not make sense, but yearning is part of life, part of inspiration, you would say. There are many things in life that will make it easier for you to go through, and some of them are being chosen by your conscious self, and other just by an addictive feeling that you felt before but you haven't been able to fully change, which is the point of life. As I said over and over again, you're going to change. So don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of leaving what doesn't feel right. Like, you have no energy to spend on things that do not belong to you. And I know that it is very hard at times to leave something that does not belong to you, but you need it to survive. That is completely another thing. But if you want to try something and you have the ability to do so, do it. Why not? Why spending your time craving something that you could actually have if you just had the balls to do it, you know? It's basically like me recording videos on YouTube. The version of me in probably 2019, I was scared to put myself out there. I was terrified of my friends figuring out that I was going to make videos, but I wanted to do so. And I've always felt this need of talking about myself and being a little bit egoistic and egocentric, you know, because I'm talking to a camera at the end of the day. And yes, if you're watching this, I love that you're watching this, because I am terrified and I feel like I'm finally being myself, quote unquote, because you're never going to be fully yourself. You're always going to be changing. You are the 1,000 versions that you have created about yourself. So you're not static. You're always in motion. Your art is in motion. Your thoughts are in motion. Even your words. And I was trying to understand this feeling by thinking, what would happen if I got like 1,000, well, let's say, what if I got 100,000 followers? Whoa, that would be beautiful. Yes, I would be very happy. But at the same time, I would think to myself, those are definitely going to be 1,000 versions of myself that they have created about me that probably does not exist, you know? Because not even I know who I am. Not even I know who I am going to be when I get those 100,000 followers. And that is the point of everything. That is the point. Trying, doing something, you know? Doing something for yourself at the end of the day, because the system is so centered that you are going to end up working for a system that does not work for you. So you might as well do in your best ability, do the things that you want to do, regardless of anything. Don't think too much about the consequences. And I've always been thinking about this because I talk about obsession, love, men, things that literally run through my head all the time, you know, because that's who I am. I've grown with One Direction. I'm obsessed with men and beauty and everything. Like, It's not that specific reason, but I've already said this in many videos. So I love to explain and to try to explore my feelings through words, and sometimes I can be over exaggerated with how I feel, but that's the way I feel. And most of the time, and believe me with this, most of the time I feel like these emotions are going to break me down and kill me, but for probably 20 minutes, and then I forget about that and I go move on. Like, that is how I feel. And there's people that have these obsessive feelings, thoughts, and everything, emotions for a longer period of time, which I know it's toxic, and I'm well aware of what I'm going through. I know how I feel. I'm self aware, okay? And it's interesting to say this out loud because I never thought that someone would misinterpret what I say, but it is very easy to misinterpret because I'm only talking when I feel something. So you only see the version of me being emotional or me being hysterical with some feelings and thoughts and fixated on some things. I could even say I'm fixated, but I have fixations, different fixations every single day, all the time. So, and I have a lot of things to do. So it's not like my life revolves around my thoughts. My life revolves around my art. It revolves around my friends, my family, how I see myself. And I'm always going to be thinking about myself and doing things for myself. It is very hard for me to do things for other people unless I absolutely adore them. And that is the thing, but I will talk about how I feel certain way about certain things, you know? That's just part of my personality, and my personality changes. And again, we go to the first point. I die all the time. I die all the time. I die of love. I die of emotions, of this dreading feeling of changing, because changes are scary, especially when you choose to do something big or change of space more than change of mindset or like state or anything like routines. You're going to change your entire life, and you are being guided by your surroundings. So I'm going to be expecting the death of Melissa living in Ecuador pretty soon, and I'm getting terrified of that. And now I understand why, you know, because I'm going to die. Like, I am going to die earlier than my own death. Do you know what I'm talking about? So I feel like this encourages me to just go for it, just do whatever I want, because at the end of the day, I am constantly dying and I'm getting closer to my death. Every day you're getting closer to your death. Every day you're changing. Every day you are seeing pictures of the version of you that no longer exists. And if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? You know? It must mean that you're doing something because you feel different, because you don't recognize yourself in some attitudes or some reactions to people, especially when people tell you like, oh, but you didn't like this, and you're like, no, now I like it, so what? Then you realize that change that you're so afraid of, it actually happens all the time. You have bigger things to worry about, you know? And those are your dreams, your goals. Because in order to achieve your goals, which is something you need to manifest, you need to change. Period. You need to be the version of yourself that is ready to let those things come into your life and have space, make space. And in order to make space, you need to leave some things out, you know? Disregard, discard. You know what I'm talking about. So that's everything that I wanted to say, a realization, and I'm going to keep studying. Sorry for my head. I don't know how to style my hair, even though it's very curly, so it styles itself, but I feel like it's not giving, you know? I feel like I need to curl it a little bit more on the front side. Anyway, I love you. please subscribe and let me search. Help me get those 100,000 followers. I love you. And I manifest a change. I manifest the death of my bad habits and the rebirth of a better version of myself, the version that I've always wanted, and the version that gets me everything that I want.